Welcome back to UK Pro Writers. Today, we have an intriguing research topic to delve into: Trade Wars and Economic Interdependence, a comparative study of USA-China and USA-Europe trade conflicts. We'll explore how trade disputes between major economic powers influence their diplomatic relationships and global economic stability. Importance of the research topic. Before we dive in, let's understand why this research is crucial. Trade conflicts between superpowers have far-reaching consequences. They can strain diplomatic ties, disrupt global supply chains, and impact economies worldwide. Investigating these dynamics is essential to grasp the complexities of international relations in our interconnected world. Real-world examples. To illustrate the significance, consider the USA-China trade tensions that escalated in recent years. Tariffs were imposed on billions of dollars worth of goods, affecting industries and consumers on both sides. This strained not only their trade relations but also their broader diplomatic engagement. Additionally, the US-Europe trade conflicts over issues like steel and aluminum tariffs had repercussions that rippled through the global economy, showing that even close allies can clash over trade policies. Chapter 1, Introduction. Now, let's discuss how to draft Chapter 1, the Introduction. Chapter 1, the Introduction, typically includes a concise overview of the research problem or question that the study aims to address, along with the research significance, setting the context for the research. It also introduces the research questions and objectives that guide the study, providing a roadmap for the reader to understand the purpose and scope of the research. Research problem example. The research problem could be framed as follows. The escalating trade tensions between major economic powers raise concerns about their impact on global economic stability and diplomatic relationships. Research significance example. The research significance lies in understanding these tensions' implications for international diplomacy and economic stability. For instance, it helps governments, businesses, and policymakers anticipate and mitigate potential disruptions. Research questions. 3 research questions could be: how do trade disputes between the USA and China differ from those between the USA and the Europe? What are the primary drivers of trade conflicts between these entities? How do these trade disputes influence broader diplomatic relationships? Research objectives. Here are 3 research objectives. To analyze the trade policies and strategies employed by the USA in conflicts with China and the Europe. To assess the impact of these conflicts on diplomatic relations between the parties involved. To evaluate the effects of these conflicts on global economic stability. Research rationale. The rationale for this research is that understanding the dynamics of trade disputes is essential for governments and businesses to make informed decisions and adapt to changing international relations. Chapter 2, Literature Review. Moving on to Chapter 2, the Literature Review. Chapter 2, the Literature Review, presents a comprehensive analysis of existing scholarly literature related to the research topic, examining key theories, models, and empirical studies. It identifies and discusses relevant subtopics, theories, and gaps in the current body of knowledge to establish the research's theoretical foundation and highlight the need for the study. Suitable subtopics and examples. Subtopics could include examining historical trade conflicts, the concept of economic interdependence, the role of trade in diplomacy, and the impact of trade disputes on global markets. For instance, you can explore how the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act exacerbated the Great Depression in the 1930s. Theories and models. Theories and models like the Heckscher-Ohlin theory, comparative advantage, the prisoner's dilemma, and the gravity model can be adopted. For instance, the Heckscher-Ohlin theory explains how countries benefit from trading goods they produce efficiently, while the prisoner's dilemma illustrates how countries' self-interest can lead to suboptimal outcomes in negotiations. Drafting literature gap. To identify a literature gap, you should highlight areas where existing research falls short. For instance, prior studies may focus on the economic impacts but not delve into the diplomatic consequences of trade wars, leaving a gap to explore the diplomatic angle in this research. Chapter 3, Methodology. Chapter 3, the methodology, typically details the research design, including the chosen data collection methods and tools. It also covers the data analysis techniques, sampling methods, and any ethical considerations, offering a clear blueprint for how the research will be executed and ensuring its validity and reliability. Conceptual framework. A suitable conceptual framework could include 3 independent variables like trade policies, diplomatic engagement, and economic stability, with the dependent variable being the level of trade conflict. Research philosophy. For this research, a pragmatist philosophy might be suitable as it combines positivist and interpretivist approaches, allowing for a holistic analysis. Research approach. Considering the complexity, an inductive approach may be more appropriate as it allows for emerging themes and insights. Research strategy. A comparative case study strategy, focusing on the USA-China and USA-Europe trade conflicts, would enable a deep exploration of the subject. Data analysis method. Given the multifaceted nature of this research, a mixed methods approach could be valuable. Quantitative methods can analyze trade data, while qualitative methods can explore diplomatic relations through interviews or content analysis. Ethical considerations. Ethical considerations include obtaining informed consent from interviewees to protect their privacy, and ensuring data accuracy and integrity to maintain credibility. Limitations and delimitations. It's essential to acknowledge limitations, such as potential data biases, and delimitations, like focusing on specific trade conflicts, to maintain the research's scope. Chapter 4, Data Analysis. Chapter 4, the data analysis, is where the collected data is analyzed using the chosen quantitative or qualitative methods. This chapter includes the presentation of findings, statistical analysis, for quantitative studies, thematic analysis, for qualitative studies, and the interpretation of results to address the research questions and objectives. Quantitative analysis. In quantitative analysis, a sample size of 500 trade transactions from each conflict could provide statistically significant results. Qualitative analysis. For qualitative analysis, conducting 20 in-depth interviews with key diplomats and industry experts from each conflict might yield rich insights. Chapter 5 Conclusion. Chapter 5 Conclusion. This is where you tie everything together. The conclusion summarizes your findings, discusses their implications, and reinforces the significance of your research. Chapter 6 Recommendations. Recommendations provide actionable insights for policymakers, businesses, and researchers, helping them navigate future trade conflicts. Recommendations might include advocating for diplomatic dialogue during trade disputes, promoting diversification of supply chains, and conducting further research on the impact of trade wars on specific industries. Suggestions for future research. Finally, some suggestions for future research could explore the role of emerging economies in global trade conflicts, the influence of non-state actors, or the impact of technology in shaping trade disputes. That's a wrap for today's discussion on trade wars and economic interdependence. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with others. And remember, understanding the intricacies of trade conflicts is vital in our interconnected world. Stay tuned for more exciting research topics on UK Pro Writers. See you next time.